Welcome to Daily Plunge. We are in Paul's first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 11, verses 17 through 34. Paul's got some hard words for the Corinthians about their fellowship time. They're messing it up. They're following it up, because they have cruel cliques going. They're just focused on gathering with their friends. They're having private suppers at the church and excluding others. And part of what he's challenging them for is the whole point of being the church is to be a group that comes together. And so are we helping people, when we don't share our food with those in the community, right? With others in the church. And he says, do we come together with servanthood to serve one another, or do we come together so that we can take sides against each other? He says, you don't discern what God is up to in fellowship. It's not about you just gathering with your friends and being, clicking together in your cliques. It's about being a church that moves beyond the obvious ways that we connect with each other. And then, and part of the thing that's funny is that, he's talking about communion. And the irony is they don't even understand what communion is really all about. So he says, I pass on to you the words that I receive from the Gospels, from Matthew, Mark, and Luke, right? The words of institution. And again, in the night in which he was betrayed by his friends, Jesus took bread and broke it. And what did he say about it? This is my body given for you. Do this to be reconnected, to be remembered to me. And again, he took the cup. This is the new covenant in my blood, not just in wine, in my blood. Do this, whenever you drink of it, to be remembered, reconnected to me. And then he says in verse 26, whenever you eat of this bread and drink from this cup, you proclaim the Lord's death until he comes. What he's saying is that as we take bread and wine, we are participating in the cross. We are making alive again this work that God has done in the cross. And we're proclaiming it by our meal to the whole community, by the whole world. So he goes on, verse 27. Don't eat the bread and drink the cup in an unworthy manner. Well, what does he mean by that? Well, the truth is we're all unworthy. We're all sinners. None of us is coming to take communion based on our goodness, right? It's based on our sinfulness. So when he says, examine yourselves, it's that we are to discern who we rightly are and to leave our sin at the altar, to leave it for God who paid for it in the cross and the resurrection. And then he talks about discerning the body. And part of what he's saying is, do you discern what God is doing in this meal? Do you discern that we're coming together as one community, as the body of Christ in communion? And to not properly discern our sin, to not properly discern Christ is in the meal, to not properly discern the body of Christ, the community that gathers together, is to take communion in an unworthy manner. So we're invited to move beyond ourselves to focus on Jesus Christ in the bread and the wine. Well, thanks, friends. Have a blessed day.